Hello and welcome to 7 Super Series. I'm Ben for the Bonehead podcast, and this is the final preview. Seven Super Series is our escalation league for the best way to play Blood Bowl Sevens. Sevens is a fast play variant with a smaller pitch, smaller teams, shorter halves, but bigger gameplay. We've got 5 teams facing off against each other across 10 weeks. Then we'll take the top 4 teams and through a series of knockout playoff games, determine the 7 Super Series 3 champion. This is an escalation league, so no permanent injuries, and before each game a team plays, they will receive a single skill depending on their team tier. Every week on 7 Super Series, we will have a preview video, which is this one here, where we'll detail the teams, the coaches, and of course, the viewer championship. And this week, we're going to be joined by my regular co-host, Blood Tithe Ben, who is going to be piloting our Elven team, the Loathen Legion. He's painted them up. It only seems fair that we get him on here to run them. And I am going to be running Skaven, sort of. I'm running Underworld in this game, the Undercity Warpfires, which we've, quite frankly, stolen from Ian Warhammer, who are beautifully painted as well. So let's have a look at the teams. We'll talk about the matchup, and of course, we'll hit the most important thing of all, the final week of the Viewer Championship. Okay, first team up is the team that Ben's going to be running against me today, which is our Elven Union team, the Loathen Legion. Ben painted up most of this team for the Dungeon Bowl series that we did, and then fleshed it out for this series, and the next Bonehead Championship will be featuring the full Elven Union team as well. Anyway, the Loathen Legion have made it to the finals, and they're running 2 Elven Blitzers, 1 Elven Thrower, an Elven Catcher, and 3 Elven Linemen. No rerolls, no desperate measures, no nothing else. Just 7 Pro Elves. And they're Pro Elves. Now, those Blitzers at movement 7 with block and sidestep are an absolute nightmare on the pitch. That dodge on one of them means that there's a movement 7 edge 2 plus blodger. No, blodge step, which is even worse. And there's the Elven Catcher on there as well, who's also got dodge and block. We're not getting any more skills throughout the playoffs, so the teams are capped at 5 skills, and being tier 2, they've got access to 3 primary and 2 secondary. They've got all primary skills here: dodge on that blitzer, leader on that thrower, one of, but not the best thrower in the game. Potentially the best supporting cast there with the Elven Catcher, but that leader reroll is going to mean that it's just going to save a drive potentially each half. The Elven Catcher there with dodge and block makes it a movement 8, edge 2 plus, strength 3 Blitzer with nerves of steel and catch. That guy is going to be an absolute nightmare because he's stronger than the Gutter Runner. He's got the same agility and skill set basically as the Gutter Runner, so it's going to be a really horrible matchup there. And one of the line elves has got kick, which now kick is one of Ben's favourite skills, as it flipping should be, especially in sevens. Loathen Legion here have got all the speed and all the potential to score very quickly. They've got the strength advantage here for the most part as well. Goblins, Gutter Runners being strength 2, these elves being strength 3, having 3 block pieces as well. They could outbash the Underworld team. Now, I'm recording this video today, which is on the day of the game, so Ben can't watch it and get any sneaky tactics ideas, which is useful. Not that I'm sure he's going to need them. Now, 3 block pieces, generally speaking, strength advantage. That thrower's pretty awesome, great throwing potential, and that catcher means that it's always a 2++ followed by a 2++. That's a 2+ catch with catch reroll and nerves of steel into a 2+ dodge roll with the dodge skill away from an 8 square touchdown. So basically stopping the throwing game when it comes to that is going to be really challenging. The Loathen Legion here are going to be able to score whenever they get the ball. Now it's going to be down to the Underworld to stop them from doing so. And that's exactly what I intend to do. This is the Undercity Warpfires roster. We've got the Rat Ogre, we've got the Skaven Blitzer, the Skaven Thrower, the best thrower in the game, 3 Goblins, a Desperate Measure, and an Assistant Coach. That comes in bang on 600. Now, again, 5 skills for this team, being tier 1, that's 4 primary and a secondary. We've got Block on the Roger, we'll talk about him in a second. We've got Tackle on the Blitzer, which I think is going to be a very useful skill here, given that the elves have got 2 dodge targets here. Get a nice assist with this Blitzer, we can get a hefty 2-die hit. Now, both those dodge elves have got block as well, so it's not a surefire thing, but it is a potential attack route. The Skaven Thrower's got the leader for this roster as well, so both teams are going to be kind of protecting their thrower to keep that reroll safe, but also being able to cash in on it when they really need to. And we've got the Gutter Runner here with block and 2 heads, both primary skills for the Underworld Gutter Runner. Build your own hack flem. We've got Blodge to keep him alive, and we've got 2 heads to mean that he's 1+ dodging into the open, which means he can just wander through 1 tackle zone almost for free. 2+ again with that dodge reroll in a 1 tackle zone. The Gutter Runner is going to be very hard to stop scoring if he gets the ball. The downside here is that the elf team has got that strength, has got those block pieces to be able to actually attack him. So it's going to be an interesting one there. 3 goblins. We've seen throughout the season that those goblins can be incredibly useful, and that Desperate Measure could be the deciding factor here. We get a wizard, boom, goodbye elves. There's a couple of good pieces, a couple of good things that we can roll on the Desperate Measure chart that would be pretty useful. I'm going to come back to it though. We've got the Rat Ogre. Now, he's got block, which makes him pretty reliable. He can punch goblins, which makes him pretty reliable. He's got loner, which is not ideal, and we've seen throughout the season that a loner reroll on a on a rogue or blitz can be quite the risk, but also quite the reward. If we can set up the Rat Ogre to make some good 2 or 3 die blocks on some elves, he's got block to keep him alive. We could potentially put that Mighty Blow to good work against a very low armored team. So that Mighty Blow is the only Mighty Blow in this game, and that tackle is the only tackle in that game. So while elves have got better strength across the board, we've got a couple of attack pieces, I think. A little bit of removal here. If the Rogue or the Blitzer can get some profitable blocks and take out a couple of those elves, it could be a bit of a cascade. Downside is that the Warpfires are not the most resilient team either. Goblins, Gutter Runners, low strength, low armor, not going to be the most resilient. But the Gutter Runner with Blodge and 2 heads is going to be a fast scoring threat, basically the same as the Catcher on Ben's team. That Rat Ogre needs to do some seriously good work, but you get a cheeky double skulls on the Roger Blitz. You get a couple of dead goblins on there as well. And it could be a bit interesting. I think first half, whoever receives is going to go and score in 2-3 turns. And then the other team's going to go and score in 2-3 turns. And then it's going to take a turn or a 2-turn touchdown event that's not quite going to pull off. So we'll go into half-time 1-1. Receiving team then kicks. So it's going to be potentially a 2-1 and then an equalizer. So it could go into overtime here. Now, overtime rules for this game are not out of the book. We're doing it slightly differently because I think it works much better this way. We play 6 turns in the first half. We play 6 turns in the second half. If the game is tied at the end of the 6th turn, we play on. We play on, and it's golden goal at that point. So if it is 2-2 going in and finishing at turn 6 in the second half, if it's 2-2, if it's 1-1, if it's 0-0, we just keep playing, and next team that scores wins. I think it's a much better way of keeping 7s quite fast. The last thing you want to do is re-rack. It just seems unnecessary, and it gives you the potential to kind of play for that turn 7, that turn 2-7 touchdown to take the win. It's going to be really interesting, and I think I can almost guarantee that the second half of this match is going to be quite fast, because we're probably going to have less players on the pitch than a single team has in a standard game of Blood Bowl going into that second half. But, you know, we've seen some exciting dice rolls on this channel and on this show. So, on these teams where everything's a 2+, it is going to be anything but a 1, I think, a lot of the time. Okay, so it is the last week for the Viewer Championship. Every game we've had you guess the score, and we've given you points, and at the end of the season, which will be essentially after the game, we'll do a review video, and in that it will be the winners, because points are going to win prizes. So, guessing the outcome correctly, you say Underworld win, you get 3 points, and you get a bonus point regardless of the outcome for each team whose score you guess correctly. So if you say elves are going to win 3-2 and it ends up being Underworld winning 2-1, you'll get no points for the elves, no points for the elves touchdown, but at least 1 point for the Skaven scoring 2 touchdowns. So you can win up to 5 points, or you can win absolutely none. This is the last round, so let's have a look at the leaderboard for the very last time. 30 pointers here. Brad Barrett and Joe Mummer, Trevor Turner at 29 points, Panenka, 28 points, Adam Pike, Chris Stevenson, Justin Kosalek and Mike V, 4th place, 27 points, Austin Faulkner, 26 points, Bluntbrush, Dean Wilson, Gecko 8, Max Laws, Mike G and T Sticks are all within basically 5 points of taking the lead. Alex Geddes, Dennis Fry, Michael Yap, Andy Tucker Barron, Charles Glover, Gareth Kirby, Adam Wilcox, a load of players still in the running for being in the top grouping of players who are going to win some Bonehead podcast loot. Okay, viewer championship, tick. Full Star Wars scroll at the end of the video. Rosters, tick. It's going to be Ben versus Ben. It's going to be Dash versus Dash. Underworld, Elven Union on the Sevens pitch. I'm super excited for Ben to come over later. I've got the studio all set up for the match. I'm looking forward to this. These games have been an absolute blast all season, and I'm really hoping for a shootout this time round. I'm not going to lie though, I am going to be playing very hard defense. I am going to be committing all my resources into stopping those scores wherever I can, because it only takes a single turnover, single breaking of the serve to win, even with these fast teams. If I can receive and I score and then I break serve, it's 2-0. But that is also true of the Elven team. If Ben gets the ball, scores nice and early, and then stops me from scoring on that first half, it's going to be very tough to come back from. So, should be a good one, and I'm just really looking forward to filming it. Anyway, stay tuned for the full Star Wars scroll at the end of the episode, but otherwise, I'm going to disappear. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the channel even further, please like and subscribe. It really does help us out. Or come join us on YouTube members or in Patreon, where you can get exclusive access to some content, some loot, early access to basically everything we do, as well as regular competitions. Or you can pick up some Bonehead Podcast loot either on our website at boneheadpodcast.com. We've got the Dungeon Bowl things, we've got tokens and stuff like that, or on our Spreadshirt site as well. Everything you do just helps us make more content and hopefully do it of better quality. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Happy blocking.